After 6 months into the gym, I started training with that guy. We were both doing an upper-lower split, and we went consistently with each other to the gym. We were training together. So we also had another friend who went to the same gym, and the three of us sometimes trained together. But that guy specifically, we were training together almost every time. And then one day he decided to change his training plan and to go from an upper-lower split to push-pull-leg split. He was just a beginner like me. He was not very jacked, he was not big, and he wanted to see more results, and he thought that by training more he would see more results. Now I warned him that he should not do it because, he would risk injury, he will overtrain, he's just a beginner, he should not do so much work. But he still hoped on it, and he stuck to it for day and 2 and 3 and 6, and then after around 1.5 weeks or 2 weeks, I don't remember the exact time, he just decided to quit the training plan and to go back to an upper-lower split. He could not stick to it, and he just stopped doing it. And by seeing them trying to hope on that pretty hard training plan with 6 days per week and failing, I started to develop that negative belief that, training a lot of times per week is really hard and unsustainable, and I should not do it too, and doing it will cause failure. And I got afraid from doing so. I stuck to that upper-lower split. Fast forward like a year, he stopped training, he went all in on boxing, whatever. So 1.5 years after starting to train in the gym, I got pretty bored with the routine use upper-lower split. I started to get bored of it and decided to start doing an upper-lower push-pull leg split. And it was pretty damn good. I was afraid of going all in 6 times per week in the gym because I didn't like the idea of failure, of just quitting and admitting defeat. But as I did it 5 times per week upper-lower push-pull leg split, I stuck to it. I promised to myself that I will not fail, right? That I will go to all of my workouts. And then I changed it. I started to do the push-pull leg split. And I was pretty afraid to fail. And because of that, I promised to myself that I will not stop. That I will just keep going, no matter what. I will go to all of my workouts, regardless of how I feel. If I'm tired, I would go. If I would be fucking fatigued, I would go. If I would have DOMs, I would still go. And I did it, and I stuck to it. And the funny thing is that when I started to go on this training plan, right, on the 6 times per week training plan, I had a way easier time sticking to the workout plan than when I was doing that fucking 4 times per week upper-lower split. And here's why. I left no other option but to go. When I did that upper-lower split, I had room for maneuvering my training plan, for changing days. So on one day I was pretty fatigued and I needed to tackle that problem of whether I should go today or delay to tomorrow. But when I did that push-pull leg split, I lowered the volume for each one of the training sessions a bit, but with it, I also needed to go, because I could not fucking delay my workout to tomorrow. Tomorrow I had another workout to go to, and I became way more consistent through doing that. I habitualized training to the greatest extent, but the point of this video is not about how you habitualize training. It is not about the superiority, for me at least, of 6 times over 4 times of training per week. It is about a different thing. For the last 1 year, I have been following that push-pull leg split consistently, and I have not missed even one day. Not even one. I only delayed 3 of my leg days for the day afterward because of fatigue, because of a long run that I was doing, fucking 13, 14, 15 miles. One day was even 26 miles. That's the only times in which I delayed my workouts and not even skip them. And that's the thing. So that's the mindset that if you develop, you get much more consistent. But before that, I needed to realize that your mindset, your mind, determines your consistency to a pretty large extent, and your consistency with the knowledge that you have, so what you are doing consistently, determines your result to a pretty fucking big extent, along with genetics, but let's draw it to the trash because we can't really control it. And in some weird way, the results, the actions that you take, they determine your mindset. You can either start by changing your actions and the results that you get from them, or by changing your mind. Most people need to start by changing their mind, because changing the actions and the results from the actions is just a byproduct of the mind. And it is very hard to act out of accordance with your mind. And that's the thing, that's what you need to do if you want to become more consistent, because your consistency probably sucks because of your mind. It is to first leave no other option but to be consistent. You need to sacrifice things for other things in order to be consistent in the other things. What does it mean? It is essentially you sacrificing some of your sleep sometimes when you have to for the goal of being consistent in training, because if you will not fucking prioritize consistency, you will become less consistent. Now, skipping one workout out of many can be completely fine. I won't sit here and say that you should not skip any one of your workouts like me, because for most people it's unsustainable. But the thing is that you cannot have the mindset that allows you to skip a workout. You need to prioritize fitness. And that's why it comes to the mind. That's one aspect of it. The second one is the mindset, is you having the mentality of, I go to my workouts, I just go to them. That's just second nature for me. But when it comes to values, think about it. If you want value fitness on top of something else, on top of video games, for example, to some extent, right? Not to the fullest extent. You can still play video games for sure. Right, I don't want you to get it in the wrong way. But if you want, prioritize it to some extent, you will not go and train instead of playing video games. You will play video games instead of training. You first need to value fitness and give it some value, a big amount of it, so you actually start and do it instead of other things. In my own experience in life, it is all about fucking making sacrifices. Because think about it, genuinely think about it here and think about it with me. You have only 24 hours per day, like me. We all have 24 hours per day. These 24 hours must be allocated into stuff. Doing nothing is rest, right? To some extent. So the time is always allocated towards something. And these things that you allocate your time towards are in accordance to your values. If you really value physical fitness, you will go and you will allocate some time towards it. If you don't value physical fitness at all, you don't give a fuck about it, you will not prioritize it on top of other things. The value can come from the feeling that you get from doing it, from you knowing that it is important, from a lot of places, but you first need to value it. And then once you value it, you need to have the mindset that keeps you consistent in doing it. It is about the mindset of, I don't skip my workouts, the mindset of, I will just take the first step that gets me closer to my workout. I will go and put my gym clothes on. I will go and eat that meal, the pre-workout meal, that keeps me accountable to go and train because I don't want to be a fat slob. You need to have this mindset. But the thing that this mindset should be built on is you care about fitness. And that's why your consistency probably sucks. It's because you don't care about it enough. How do you care about it enough? You either get some level of pleasure of results from training, or you get some level of pain from not training, from not being active. You get the consequences of these things. The consequences of being inactive are really harsh, but they take some time to show. So don't fucking rely on this shit, because you might not see the bad consequences of it for years. If you have seen them, you're probably pretty damn consistent. I have seen it, and once I've seen them, I started to be consistent. So how should you start prioritizing fitness? First thing is to actually go and train. It is about discipline, because we used to think that fucking people who care about fitness are consistent, but it's not about you caring for fitness and consistency as a result of it. It is like that to some extent, but in reality it is more about your consistency, right? Determines your cares about fitness, and your cares about fitness determines your consistency. It is a feedback loop. It is a loop of feedback. If you are extremely consistent, if you sacrifice a lot for fitness, you will start to care about it more as a result. But doing it, starting with the sacrifice, requires a lot of discipline. You will need to develop discipline. You will need to go through the hard times. You will need to be okay with suffering. And then you will care about fitness more. You will habitualize fitness more, and you will become more consistent in the actions that are good in relation to physical fitness. Or you can just start by fucking brainwashing yourself to care about fitness and then go and train. But training is inevitable, you will need to go through it anyways. And that's essentially it. And if you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe if you want to get free course, link in the description. Bye.